Well, House Republicans passed a bill Wednesday to require a citizenship question to the census and exclude non-citizen foreign nationals from the official head count when determining population for representation in Congress and the Electoral College. Great idea. But was this bill ever intended to be made law? Let's discuss with Republican Congressman Dr. Craig Murphy. Greg, nice to see you, sir, Congressman. Real Americans know this bill makes perfect sense and is essential to making sure that foreign nationals exert zero influence over how we run our country, right? But as you know, the GOP's already given away the store, all of their leverage, caving into the dangerous and inflation-causing overspending, rubber stamping, and funding this cancerous Democrat agenda we're all suffering under. If Republicans were serious about this bill, wouldn't they have attached it to a must-pass bill? That's what Democrats do, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, the Democrats do it all the time, Chris, but I think folks need to realize that we have such a slim majority. If we're ever going to get anything done in this Congress, we're going to have people, especially on the Republican side now, that are voting against everything that we're trying to do. We're actually trying to get some things done for the American people, not just sit here in gridlock. Yeah, some things have to be done with some Democratic support, and if this were put on there, it wouldn't happen. You know, we had to go against the D.C. Folks here who are running their city that wanted literally Russian nationals who are at their embassy to be able to vote in their elections. So, no, this may not pass into bill, but I think it's important that the American people understand what is going on with the migrant crisis. And primarily, this is being done to try to manipulate congressional districts in the future. There's no other way around it.
Well, Congressman, if this were attached to, let's just say, the funding for Ukraine, as you know, Democrats and some of your Republican colleagues, big pushers for foreign overseas adventurism. You mean to tell me they would have killed this bill if we stopped illegal aliens from being counted in the census? They would have let that get in the way of aid to Ukraine?
Well, Chris, I can't speak for any particular person in specifics, but I can just say that most likely if this were in the bill, the thing would have been dead. And I think we have an obligation to stop Putin where he is, and for the rest of Europe. There's so many different consequences. I think sadly enough, we're developing a little bit of isolationism here in the United States, not looking at the big picture. We're in 1939 right now, Chris. And if we act like we just are turning a blind eye to the rest of the world, we will end up having to have boots on the ground with NATO, as we've signed a treaty with NATO in the not too distant future. So we have to be a little bit further out in front of our skis to really see what the ramifications can occur for not participating in the world politic.
Well, in the meantime, the White House is feigning outrage at the House GOP targeting Biden's withholding of aid shipments to Israel. Watch.
We strongly oppose attempts to constrain the president's ability to deploy U.S. security assistance consistent with U.S. foreign policy and national security objectives. It is our objective as well that we plan to spend every last cent appropriated consistent with legal obligations.
Well, Congressman, the GOP is going to formulate a law to hold Biden accountable, we're told. But why does the GOP need to make a law, which, as we already demonstrated, will go nowhere in a Senate, and Biden certainly won't sign it? So the Democrats already showed you the way to go, showed the Republicans how to handle this problem. When President Trump slowed aid to Ukraine, the Democrats impeached him. Is there a rule in Congress that I'm unaware of that prevents the Democrats from being held to the same standard they hold Republicans to?
No, and that's actually, I think, one of our members submitted, or was talking about setting impeachment orders up for Biden for doing the same thing. You know, Chris, this is very, very simple, and this is where our Democrat colleagues are getting split in half. If you look at what Imperial Japan did to the United States, we came back and said, basically, you're going to have to unconditionally surrender. And when they didn't, we had to drop the 2 atomic bombs on them. This is where Israel has every single right in the world to press this conflict further, to eliminate Hamas in whatever means they need and necessary. And now the Democrats have been split because of the anti-Semitism. Look, we're going to push forward with this. And yes, a lot of this is going to take a change, Chris, in administration. And we pray that President Trump will be in and stop the insanity that's going forward. But we have to keep pressing these things and let people and the American people understand what the absolute debacle this administration has been doing, and seemingly getting worse by the day.
But Joe Biden is safe from impeachment. That's only reserved for Republican presidents, right?
No, it's a tool, as many of our forefathers said, that this is something that's supposed to be rarely used. And just because they screwed up and Pelosi did it for political purposes, we have a hard enough time here in Washington, D.C. being serious about governing and about politics. And I think it's time the Republicans became the adults in the room and showed that we're actually serious about governing.
Congressman Murphy, thank you very much, man. Appreciate the conversation as always. Come back soon. Big news.